All right, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you with a special announcement out of RIZIN. So the big stage Japanese MMA promotion RIZIN Fighting Federation has announced the RIZIN Super Atomweight Grand Prix for 2022. Now they haven't had an Atomweight Grand Prix since, if I remember correctly, 2017, and now that foreigners are finally allowed back into Japan after the COVID lockdowns ended, they said it's time to do another Super Atomweight Grand Prix because honestly, this division has been surviving mostly on talent borrowed from, the smaller Japanese promotion Jewels, or Deep Jewels rather. So we finally getting some foreigners back in Japan. This is an interesting lineup. It's a very interesting lineup. They went with 4 Japanese fighters and 4 foreigners, and it's been matched up, Japanese versus foreigner, in each of the fights. I think it'll be a very fun tournament. So the first round is set to go down later this month on 31st July at RIZIN 37 at the Saitama Super Arena. The second round is tentatively scheduled for the end of September, and the final round will be in December, probably for the New Year's Eve card. And of course, it is at the 49 kilogram, 108 pound super atom weight limit. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 4 quarterfinal bouts for this. Now, they haven't decided how the semifinals are going to be decided, if they're going to do a bracket after this or a redraw. So that will be interesting to see as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the fights in no particular order. First up, we have the 2017 Atomweight Grand Prix winner, Kana Asakura, taking on Korean Shiyu Park. Now, Asakura comes into this fight with a 19-6 record. Park, a lot less experience at 7-4, but she does have some high-level experience in there. Now, Asakura last fought, picking up a win over Satomi Takano at RIZIN 35 in April. Shiyu Park fought that same month for Deep, where she picked up a unanimous decision win over Ayako. Park is the elder fighter at 31 years to Asakura's 24 years. So Asakura has a lot more fights in there in a lot less time than Park does. This is going to be your classic Japanese versus Korean rivalry, and it is a classic grappler versus striker battle. You've got the grappler, Kana Asakura, been wrestling all of her life. Never at a truly high level, but she is one of the better excuse me, wrestlers in Japanese women's MMA. Whereas you got Park, who comes from a strong striking background, for years has been one of the training partners of former RIZIN Super Atomweight champ and now one championship fighter, Sahi Ham. What will be most interesting about this fight is that this is the first fight in 2 years that Park is now back in Korea, and she won't be training alongside Miyu Yamamoto. Park had moved to Japan right before they locked down the borders in order to stay active as a fighter, and she found a new home at the Crazy Bee Gym, the Yamamoto Sports Academy, training alongside Miyu Yamamoto, who's a world-class wrestler and has been for over 20 years. And you could tell that her wrestling and at least her takedown defense and her anti-wrestling had improved a ton because of that. Now she's taking on a wrestler, and she's back at her home gym, which no slouch in the grappling there, but it's not quite, the same caliber that she would have had training alongside Miyu Yamamoto. For Asakura, I think she's coming close to the end of her career. She's still young, but she doesn't want to be doing this for too much longer, she's been hinting at. And I think, she hasn't been winning as many fights lately as she was back when she won the Grand Prix back in 2017. But I think this is a chance. She's looking to, get this big one final shot at glory here. So this will be an interesting bout. Next up, we have the finalist from the 2017 Grand Prix, Reynakubota, taking on a newcomer to JMMA, Anastasiya Svetkivska of Ukraine. So Rena comes in with a record of 12-4. Svetkivska comes in, she's only 2-0 as a pro. However, I just found out this afternoon that she is or was an IMMAF champion. So that means she is she fought at a very high level in the amateurs. So she's no slouch. She just doesn't have the pro experience that Rena has. Now, Rena last fought dropping a unanimous decision to Shiyu Park at RIZIN 33 back on New Year's Eve. Svetkivska just fought back in February at RFP 88, and that she picked up a TKO win or knockout TKO for RFP. I don't know if that was, I'm guessing, who knows where that is. Svetkivska is the younger fighter here, 24-31. This is an interesting bout. I think it heavily favors the more experienced Rena. I don't know anything about Anastasia. I mean, other than, she's younger. She's only 24. She's only 2-0, and she's a former IMMAF champion. I don't know what she's going to bring into this. We know what Rena brings in. Top-notch striking, very good body punches to the body and kicks to the body. Rena loves body work, really good at it. She's quick with submissions, but she's also been very vulnerable to them. I mean, she's been literally choked unconscious by rear naked choke 3 times. Don't know what kind of grappler Anastasia is, but if she's halfway decent, she could give Rena some serious trouble. But we'll have to see. Next up, we have the former RIZIN Super Atomweight champion, Ayaka Hamasaki, taking on a fellow longtime veteran of the sport in Jessica Aguilar. So Hamasaki comes in at 23-5. Aguilar comes in at 20-9. Hamasaki last fought in April, where she dropped a unanimous decision to Seika Izawa at RIZIN 35 when she lost the title. Aguilar hasn't fought in almost 2 years. Last fought dropping a split decision loss to Danielle Taylor at XFC 43 in November of 2020. Both ladies are getting up there in age. They are both 40 years old. So here's what's interesting about this fight. These two were supposed to meet way back in 2011 for the Jules promotion before they got bought by Deep and became Deep Jules. So these two were supposed to fight way back in the day. And Hamasaki was really looking forward to that fight at the time because her very close friend and mentor, one of the all-time greats, Megumi Fujii, has 2 losses to Jessica Aguilar. First in Bellator and then in Vale Tudo, Japan. So, and those are 2 of the only 3 losses that Fujii ever suffered. So Hamasaki is not only looking to get this fight done after 11 years, but she's also looking to avenge her teacher / friend. For Aguilar, this is going to be her last shot at some glory. I mean, she is on a 3-fight losing streak, hasn't fought in a couple years, made it to the UFC. A lot of people thought she got there too late, did not do well at all there, and got cut, and then goes to XFC and loses to Danielle Taylor. This is her last chance at glory for her. So the big question is going to be, can Aguilar make the 49-kilogram limit? She's never fought below strawweight as far as I know. So this is the closest thing to like a grudge match that we're going to get in this Grand Prix. And last but not least, we have the current RIZIN Super Atomweight champion, Seika Izawa, taking on Laura Fontoura of Brazil. Izawa comes in with a record of 6-0. Fontura comes in at 7-0. So both ladies are undefeated. Now, Izawa last fought at RIZIN 35 in April, where she picked up a unanimous decision win over the then champion Ayaka Hamasaki to claim the title. Fontura last fought in January, where she picked up a submission win over Andy Nguyen. That was at PAWFC Palace Athena Women's Fighting Championship 1, and that was for the inaugural Palace Athena Strawweight Championship. I don't have an age written down for Fontura. I know she's young, and Izawa is 24 years old. So this is got to be probably the best made fight in this first round of the Grand Prix, because you've got an undefeated fighter in Izawa, 6-0, an undefeated fighter in Fontura, 7-0, both young. Both are still on the come up. I mean, even though Izawa is the champion, she's still growing as a fighter. She only started fighting in 2020. So she's still very young in her career and her mixed martial arts journey. And so is Fontura. So for Izawa, this is a chance for her to really make her name against international fighters. Before this, the only non-Japanese fighter she's fought was fellow tournament entrant Shiyu Park in Japan. So this is her first time really testing herself against a fighter from outside of Japan. For Fontura, this is a chance for her to make herself known even, internationally on a much bigger stage than what she's fought in before in Brazil and then Palace Athena. So this might be the matchup I'm most excited to see. So those are my thoughts for the first round of the RIZIN 2022 Super Atomweight Grand Prix. Like I said, this goes down at RIZIN 37 later this month, July 31st in Saitama. No idea if it is going to be viewable internationally yet. We just had a RIZIN event the weekend before this recording. Couldn't watch it internationally, not without some serious difficulty. I wasn't able to watch it, unfortunately. So we'll have to see if they'll make it easier to watch outside of Japan. Hopefully they do, because I'm really excited for this one. Definitely, I would say that the matchmaking heavily favors the Japanese fighters, whether stylistically or recency or even just experience. I would say that each of these matches tends to favor the the Japanese fighter, which, hey, it's a Japanese promotion. Makes the most sense. I mean, when you see tournaments like this in any country, it tends to favor the home country fighter. But I think each of these fighters, has a bit of flavor to add. And I think they'll make for some interesting fights. So let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Share it as well. Spread the news. Let's get some people interested in this tournament. And while you're at it, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to Wmma Scene Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.